Another night of unrest in the city where George Floyd was killed. Minneapolis police and protesters clashed, and as night fell, officers fired tear gas and rubber bullets to disperse protesters who violated the city's 8 p.m. curfew. Yesterday, the full Minnesota National Guard activated for the first time since the Second World War. Authorities say the deployment was necessary because outside agitators were using protests to sow chaos. Stronger law enforcement reportedly made for a quieter night in the city with no major injuries to law enforcement or civilians. Minnesota Commissioner of Corrections said dozens of arrests were made yesterday. Law enforcement going after smaller groups that split from the larger protest.
There has been a number of arrests. I don't know the exact number at this point in time. It's a very fluid operation. I think as is known, the arrest operations are really at this time focused on those people who are found to be in violation of the curfew, as well as those who may be engaged in much more serious conduct. I am not at this point in time able to specify the exact nature of all the arrests, but the majority of them are for violations of the curfew.
CNN reporter Nadia Romero is in Minneapolis with the latest.
John, we are standing where everything started almost a week ago on Monday, where 46-year-old George Floyd first encountered police right outside of this Cup Foods. Now, the owner here called police alleging that Floyd used a counterfeit $20 bill, and that's when Floyd interacted with police officers. He was arrested, and then he was killed right in front of this store. We all remember that viral video where the police officer was kneeling on his neck for 9 minutes. Only one officer, Officer Chauvin, has been charged with third-degree murder and manslaughter. The other 3 officers have yet to be charged. And right now, this has been turned into a growing memorial. Let's take a look at some of the signs that people have left behind. This hashtag, Justice for George Floyd, that's something that you're going to see all over social media. Black Lives Matter rallying people together, organizing protests across the country. And not just this country. We're seeing protests happening even in Berlin and Germany as hundreds of people gathered in front of the U.S. Embassy there. Some of the other memorials ask for justice for him. And then we see pictures here of George Floyd. His family called him a gentle giant, and that's what they want us to remember. The man who loved his family. You can see George here. But his last words, please, I can't breathe. Those last words are what we're hearing from protesters all across the country. Every morning after the protests have sometimes turned into violence erupting in the streets, we see people coming out and they're cleaning up. They're cleaning up what's been left behind. Take a look at this growing memorial here for George Floyd. We're on the corner of Chicago and 38th Avenue here in the city of Minneapolis. People are still mourning not just the loss of George Floyd, but they're upset about the racial injustice we've seen in this city of Minneapolis and all across the country. And they will be out again likely tonight. Now, there is a curfew that's been enacted every day. It starts at 8 p.m. and it goes to 6 a.m. in the morning. The police came out last night. We saw reports. We've been talking to people who say they were out after curfew. The police came by with rubber bullets, shooting into the crowds to get people to disperse, arresting people and citing them for being out past curfew. That will continue again today. In Minneapolis, I'm Nadia Romero. John, back to you.